All right, so today we're going to talk about how to set up showings using ShowingTime. Even if there's some showings that are not accepting ShowingTime, I still think it's a very helpful tool to use. So we're going to kind of just go through that process of what it looks like. I'm going to throw in a bunch of pro tips along the way that I highly recommend to help get yourself set up for success so you don't look like an idiot in front of your clients, and so you can continue to build good relationship with other realtors and don't piss them off as well. So a lot of pro tips coming along the way, but gonna just kind of hop right into this. So I'm here on the MLS. First pro tip, if you're working and you're busy, I love using the carts, right? I like to keep my escrows in there and then the different carts for my different clients. So here's one of my clients here, and they want to see 6 properties on Thursday. So I've conveniently put them all in this cart so I can easily access them. And from here, I like to just, select all, throw them into ShowingTime. Pretty simple there. We are going to create a new showing cart. Hit the next button, and this is going to be for Thursday. And I'll just name it the name of my client. And what I really love about ShowingTime is a bunch of things. Number one, it's going to give me this map here, kind of map out your route and what's easiest. You can hit this smart route and it will give you the best way to go about doing this. But sometimes you might want to flip it the other way, right? So for me, I'm thinking so I live over here in Kailua, so I want to just get all the way out here, maybe start down here, work my way up, and then maybe I make this fourth one my last one, then shoot down to H2 and get home, right? Consider things like traffic and all that stuff too. Work opposite of that. That's one of the beauties of being a realtor, right? Is you get to kind of work your own schedule for the most part and plan things accordingly so that you're not dealing with the madness of traffic and things like that. So I'm going to kind of flip these around, and we could just do so by, I could drag this guy to the top as I want to go number 1 out there. Now you see over here, my number 6 is now down there, so I'll drag this up to number 2. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom, perfect. That's how I want to do it. So I like the way it's laid out. My first showing is going to be at 12:30 p.m. I've already talked to my client. So let's kind of just cross-reference these with the MLS to see how they're accepting showings. So unit M79. So right here. Okay, so let's take a look at this one here. Look at the showing instructions. Less than 8 hours notice. They tell us nothing about how they want us to show the property, right? Do they want us to use ShowingTime? Do they want us to call or text them? Do they want an email to them? It's not there. So when that's the case, I'm going to use ShowingTime, and I'm probably going to email them too to let them know that I'm requesting the showing. So that one, no big deal. Let's just plug it in for 12:30. And you really don't need more than 15 minutes in a home, right? I've showed homes with this client before. If it's your first time out with the client, maybe leave some extra time, 30 minutes if it will allow you. It's hard to gauge how quickly people are gonna move through properties. So your first time out, let them, give yourself that extra leeway. We save that one. We'll take a look at the next one, 155. So go back in here, 155. This one here, easy to schedule showings through ShowingTime. Perfect, boom, right? So now the cool part is it's gonna tell me here how long it takes to drive from this property to this property. So it's only 4 minutes. So if we're in there from 12:30 to 12:45, we'll get to this one about 12:50, allow a little extra time. Let's call it 1 o'clock. We'll schedule this one, 1:15. Right, now let's take a look at the next one, C302. C302. Contact only co-listing agent for all offers, showings, and questions. Feel free to use ShowingTime. Yeah. And then, so maybe I know this agent, so I'll probably reach out to him too and just say, hey man, I'm coming to check out the showing. So they're kind of giving you options. So let's just plug this one in. So now 25 minutes to drive from there to there. So if we finish this one by 1:15, depending on how long we're going to be in the home. Maybe we'll call this one 145 for that one. So 145. And then let's take a look at the next one. Kipapa Drive. Just look for that. All right, so Kipapa Drive. Drive number 14. So this one, please schedule through ShowingTime. Perfect. The reason why I'm going through this exercise here is because we might not see it now. Honestly, I didn't plan these showings out just to record this video. I'm actually setting up showings for my client. But sometimes you will see the agent will say, do not use ShowingTime, right? And maybe we'll see that here. I'm not sure yet until we get through these. But if it says that, then don't use ShowingTime. Request the way they want it requested. That's the first step of you communicating with another agent. And if you want things done a certain way, then do it a certain way, right? Because you have to think, those first encounters with the other agent, if you end up submitting an offer and maybe there's a multiple offer scenario, it's already strike one. Like you clearly can't follow directions. Do they want to be stuck with you in escrow from 30 to 45 days? Probably not. So read through, do it how they're asking, and pay attention, and people will take to that and will consider that when making decisions on offers. So let's see here, 140 to 2. We'll just call this one like 215. So plenty of time to get to that one, and then this next one, 215 to 230, we can probably do like, honestly, these are real close. We could probably just back this one up to 230. This is unit 152. So here we got, let's see, this one's vacant. Please use ShowingTime. Perfect. So we'll do the same thing. What do we say? 230, just back it right up to 230. Okay, and the last one, 94240. No. ShowingTime, please. All right, so same thing, right? So now in the scenario that they did not want us to use ShowingTime, I'm just gonna put this one for 3 o'clock because there is about an 11-minute drive. Should coincide perfectly. If it didn't say, if it said do not use ShowingTime, right? I would not select the time here. I would do as it said, because what we're going to do now, since they are all asking for ShowingTime, we got our times plugged in, we got it mapped out in the way we want to drive. You just hit send request, right? So now everybody's going to get these requests. Now, if they didn't want that, I would just go to the instructions. If it says email them, I would email them, right? And it's real simple. Send the email. I like to put in the subject, showing request dash the address. Aloha, whoever their name is. I was hoping to show this property on Thursday at 3 p.m. Please let me know if that works, and send it off. And when they respond and give you the showing instructions, you can come right back in here and hit this little plus sign, and you would write in something like confirmed, lockbox on front door, combo is whatever it is, right? And the reason I like that, to put that in there, is because now you have everything in place. And what you can do is a couple things with ShowingTime, right? You can print this out. Once you have all the directions in there, it's gonna, here it would say confirmed, and the showing instructions would be right here, right? And now you have everything in a row, knowing where you're going with all your showing instructions there. Even if it's the one that does not allow ShowingTime, after you put the notes in by clicking this little plus, they would also show up right about here. Now, there are a couple things I wish it did have on here that it doesn't, because sometimes it's confusing, especially if you're a newer agent and you're not familiar with the different projects. Sometimes it's a lot easier to see the building name than the address. So what I typically do is right about in this area here, I would write the building name. And then I also jot down a couple other things. One of them being the parking stall numbers, right? Because oftentimes you're going to be wondering where to park, if there's guest parking. A lot of times the listing is going to tell us what the parking stall numbers are. So we could just put them right down there. And then the last thing I like to put on here is whether or not the property is vacant, right? If it's a vacant property and we're running kind of late, then it's not a big deal, right? I like to put or highlight, if it's like agent meeting me, I want to highlight that agent is meeting us. I want to be respectful of other people's time. I can't tell you how pissed off I get when it's my listing and I'm waiting for somebody and they either just don't show and don't let me know, or they're running late and I have no idea whether they're coming or not. So try to be respectful of people's time. Again, this is a big part of building those relationships with other realtors, which can go a very long way, especially in a competitive market. So be respectful of people's times, or again, if it's owner occupied and the owner's stepping out to let you in and the agent's not going to be there, again, let them know. Keep an eye on your time and where you're headed, because sometimes maybe the first one's vacant and you're running late to that, and the other one's real close, but it's owner occupied. So maybe just go to the second one first, because you know it's owner occupied, you're going to get there on time for that one, and then you can just go back to the first one because it's vacant. And honestly, you could probably go at any time as long as it's vacant, right? You already got the approval. It allows you the versatility to kind of shift things around and be respectful of everybody's time. So I like putting those notes down, right? We're going to put down the parking stall numbers, we're going to put down the building name, and we're going to put down whether it's vacant, owner occupied, or whether or not the agent is meeting you, so you can, switch things around accordingly if you need to. Now, the other thing I like to have, right, we're going to print this sheet out so we have it, we know the exact route that we're going. You can also email this, and what it'll do is send a link to your client, and it'll have a link of all the properties that you're going to see. Maybe you send it to them the night before so they can kind of follow along. And then I like to go back into here and go to all of the listings, right? So I select them all, print. I print out a client full for my clients, right? Print to PDF. The reason we go client full, it has all the information on there, but it doesn't have the listing agent's information. You don't want to be giving out the listing agent's info to your clients. So this is their copy. I usually like to kind of highlight the major things they look at, like the jump to points, list price, days on market, beds, baths, square footage, HOA fees, what they include, or any other things that might pop out, like PV panels or whatever have you. And I put them in the order of the tour that we're going. And when we first show up, I say, hey guys, here's the fact sheets of all the properties we're going to be seeing today. Here's a pen if you want to take any notes. Trust me, when we see more than a few properties, things start to blend together, so I highly recommend you take some notes. So here's all the fact sheets, and here we are at the first property, right? Now what you're going to see happen is when you're showing these properties, they're going to ask you questions, and by no means are you expected to remember everything. So what I also do, I come in here and I print myself out the full version. Right now, the full version will have everything on there and the agent's info too, just in case you need to reach out to them. It's also on the showing instructions from ShowingTime, but I'm just more familiar to looking at this one and I know exactly where to go. But what's going to happen is they're going to ask you questions about the property. When was this built? What do the HOA fees include? Yada, 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 right? 95% of the time, the answer to the questions they're asking is on the sheet. So if you want to look like you're smart and you know what you're doing, have a copy of these for you too. So the second they ask that question, you flip over to the sheet and you say, oh, well, the answer is right here. Boom, the HOA fees are $625 and they include sewer and water. And this property was built in 2011. They're almost always all right there. So you can sound like you know what you're talking about, and hopefully you do know what you're talking about. And I highly recommend, you have one property where you can get to early before the client. Make it that first one. Get there early. Make sure you've kind of scoped out the scenario so you're off to a good start with your client. I always kind of tell them too, people get a little weird with a couple things, especially if you're out there for hours. I tell my clients right out the gate, like, okay guys, we're out on showings, and number one, the perfect home doesn't exist, right? Number two, if you don't like a property, the second we open that door, if you hate it, just let me know. We'll close the door and we'll move on to the next one, because I don't care. It's not my home. You're not going to offend me. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. right? So, and the other thing is, people are very reluctant to ask if they can use the bathroom if you're out there for a while, right? As long as the home is vacant, probably make sure that the toilet is actually going to flush. But just let them know, hey, if you guys need to use the restroom, I don't think it's a big deal. Just, make sure the toilet flushes. Because people are always reluctant to ask that, but oftentimes it's something that needs to happen. So again, they're there to educate, make our clients feel comfortable. You want to sound like you know what you're talking about, so have those sheets with you, so you have all the answers to pretty much anything they'll ask. And give them that pen, give them their copy so they could take notes, and plan accordingly. And again, especially if it's the first time out with that client, allow for extra time. Some people go into a home and they'll sit down on the couch and they take it all in. Next thing you know, you're there for 35 minutes, and then you're gonna get backed up on your entire showing tour, right? So always allow that extra time during that first showing. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Drop some comments below to tell me what you thought. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to put out there as far as training material, as far as being a realtor. And if you're looking for a mentorship or joining a team, we are always looking for great agents, and we'd be happy to have you. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Hope this helped. Aloha, guys. Thank you.